but hopefully the person
I mean,
will
it's
set it. So it's limited, but it works.
It did work, I'm impressed it worked.
And I had trouble one day, it was really overcast.
That
and
might
rainy.
work.
Yeah.
Yep, no, that falls right into the definition.
Yeah, it works and I can
Okay,
find day if
all right,
that's
so
out there.
finally she gets,
And
she says,
I'll send it.
okay, you need to answer, so somebody's finally answered.
Jason's out.
Did you get it?
Good enough.
And I have
It's-
it.
It's on and it's facing everybody, so it's good enough, right? Better than not on.
We've done West Babbitt for 8 years.
Okay, is it, what did you just do, Nick?
And move that Kleenex box.
Oh, it's a Kleenex, I thought you put it up there, and
No,
I
I
thought,
moved it out of the way.
and from right here, I
So-
can't tell what it is.
Okay, is everything working now? Okay. Alrighty, let's call this meeting to order, the special meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Counselor Lossing.
Here.
Counselor White. Absent. Counselor Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Counselor Lassie.
Here.
And Mayor Zupansich.
Here, let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, purpose of the special meeting, West Babbitt Development Project Bid Award and Project Funding. So,
George Eilerson can attend via conference, so I was gonna connect him to my phone and put his little speaker up here. Does that work for you guys?
yeah, that works.
All right. Bluetooth. He's been going back and forth with me about numbers all day, so.
Hello, this is George.
Hey, George, Jason here, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, I got you on a conference speaker and you are up in front of the city council.
Hi there,
All right,
can you hear us okay?
good. I hear you just fine, thank you. Good evening all, and as a reintroduction, George Eilerson from Northland Securities. I've helped you in the past when you needed to borrow money, so as recent as 2021 on the campground project. So now, Nancy, quick question. I had sent up a one-page overview. Did you get that? And did that make its way in front of the council?
I did receive your proposal. It is not part of our package tonight, but we will touch on it.
Okay. And I can just give you a quick overview of what that memo would entail. So first of all, congratulations. You've done a great job of, securing grant dollars. And so it appears that when we subtract out the bonding bill and the IRRB, and then add in engineering with a question mark on it on contingency, whether or not you want to add in for that, you've got a financing gap, if you will, of about $992,000. And so I've reviewed with the bond attorney, council, when you borrow money through the public channels like this, there needs to be a bond attorney. Freiberger Buchanan out of Duluth has worked with the city in the past, so I've been in contact with them. The city has the authority to issue general obligation bonds, which you could do a financing term as long as 30 years, based upon the open market. One of the nice things is that for your project, you've got the ability to get your bond rating assigned. The city has an existing bond rating of A+ with Standard & Poor's, and then your project, we would be focusing on borrowing sewer-related costs. I know that Jason and I have a conversation about this to streamline your financing. and so there's not other additional steps required prior to the issuance of debt, that there would be, we'd focus on, basically financing the sewer related costs. And so that's, with that said, you can actually enhance the bonds even further. You've got that A+ bond rating. You can get a AAA rating through backing from the state of Minnesota. You still issue open market conventional bonds, but now they're enhanced with a AAA bond rating through the state of Minnesota Credit Enhancement Program, which helps to drive down the interest rate further. So City Council, certainly no need to take any action on this tonight. I'm really here to just kind of give you a quick overview and then answer any questions you might have. My understanding, you've got bids in front of you, Rachel Contracting, for the project. Realistically, you wouldn't need to issue the bonds until likely towards the construction season of 2026, when that begins. So maybe around into April or May is when you probably need to issue these bonds. And so I can show you interest rates. Here's what it is in the current market today. The positive is that interest rates with rate cuts that are in discussions, interest rates are trending down a bit, which is good, and hopefully that will continue throughout the rest of the year into next year. So Mayor and Council, that's a quick overview that, like I say, you can issue debt up to 30 years. I realize from earlier discussions that what you would like to do is take the proceeds from the sale of lots and use that revenue to pay off bonds, or to have that as your primary revenue source to pay debt. You would have the ability beyond that. Let's just say there's, maybe lot sales aren't moving as quickly as you would hope. You have the ability to provide a backstop, if you will, for this financing with taxes. So you have the ability to do a debt levy on top of the lot sale revenue to help pay back the bonds. So I'll work with you on, getting through all the process of, looking at financing scenarios, finding the right fit. Is it better for you to have a shorter financing? Is it better to have a longer financing? We'll work through that, certainly in the coming months. And then I'll guide you through those steps of getting your bond rating in place, applying for that credit enhancement program, et cetera. So, Mayor and Council, any questions you have that I can address?
I had a question. Do you know what the payment would be? I mean, roughly, like the yearly payment? Depending.
Yeah. If we did, and realizing this is preliminary at this point, but if we looked at, say, 15 years, a 15-year financing based upon, again, your borrowing need is right around $1 million, and then if you, and Jason may have more of an input on this, whether you'd like to put a contingency into the financing, you could add that onto this financing, but for purposes of these numbers, the contingency is not added at this time. But so a 15-year financing, annual debt service would be in the ballpark of $93,000 per year. And then if we stretched that out to, say, a 20-year financing, that annual payments or annual debt service would be about $78,000 per year. The one important thing, Council, is that with any traditional financing like this, you would have the ability to prepay on principal once you reach a certain date. So, for example, when I say, hey, you can do a 20-year financing term, if you sell all the lots, within, say, 7 or 8 years, there'd be the ability to pay off the bonds early and not incur interest costs for, an additional, say, 10 or 12 years. So, but again, that's something that as you go on, we'll keep it 15 years and 78,000 over 20.
Okay, thank you. And I understand that's ballpark. Now, is there a payoff? Is the payoff, let's say in 7 or 8 years, hypothetically thinking, are we able to do that in the 15-year term also?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Typically, that payoff date or that ability to pay off a bond is about halfway through a bond term. Now, I qualify that and say, hey, if you did 30-year bonds, that doesn't mean you'd have to wait for 15 years. It's about 7 years, 7 to 8 years typically with a bond that you would reach that date where you can pay off principal once you reach that date.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for? No. So Jason, can you tell me what the grand total is for everything? I mean, we've got the bids here, and do I have it? I might not.
I apologize.
Oh.
So I had a funding summary prepared and somehow it did not, my mistake, did not get into the packet.
Okay.
And so, we got a little bit ahead. I will share with John.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
we kind of jumped ahead there a little bit. I thought we should address the bids first. So basically, as George noted and as we've seen on the information, so Rachel Contracting was the low bid. And if the council is prepared to move forward with the project, I put together just a little summary. So basically, the low bid was the 4 million. Engineering with SEH is 393,400. I see that number is slightly wrong there. The state appropriation is 2 million. The IRRB grant is the 1.45 million. So basically the financing needed, as George stated, was the $992,469. And then there's the options for the bonding with this. We've got Northland Securities and there was a summary of what his offering was. And then there's also the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority also offers bonding. And we were, both Mayor Zavancic and I have been trying to reach out to see if there's any other funding we can get in order to reduce that amount of the 992,000 that we would have to, that we have we have to figure out how we're going to finance that. The revenue from the sale of the lots, we're anticipating the 12 single-family residential lots, if they were sold at $45,000 each, that's $540,000. The 6 premium single-family residential lots at $75,000 would yield about $450,000 in revenue. And the 1 multifamily lot, estimating that at about $200,000, that is a total of about $1,190,000 in revenue from the lot sales. And so just looking that I apologize for not having that. I saw you all were making notes furiously and probably could have made it easier for you. And so that is where we are.
So if we bond for the difference of what we need, and then when all the lots sell, and if there's a yearly payment of like either 93 or 78,000, we should be able to sell at least, I would anticipate 1 or 2 a year, if not more. We would essentially be able to cover the bond and then actually have a little bit more. And the multifamily lot just was estimated at the same size acreage as what the other ones were, right? Because it's a larger parcel.
It's a larger parcel.
It's about an 8 acre parcel, if I remember
Is it that
correctly.
big?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it was.
It's very large.
Okay.
So you included the one multifamily at 200 as well?
Yes.
And you came out with a positive number after that? I mean,
Well, it came
Well-
out to 1,190,000.
yeah,
In
and subtract
sales.
that from
Well, there's
total
no,
payoff number, right? 1428,073 if you went for 15 years. Oops.
If we did a bond with Northland, the 15 years at the 3.59%, the total payout that we would have at the end of that 15 years would be the $1.4 million. So,
there's still a little bit of a shortfall
Yeah,
on the total. It's due to interest.
$288,073.
But that's only if we wait the 15 years.
Right. Right, if we're able to pay it off sooner.
and I have a question for George. Is there any funding option or bonding option that allows any type of principal payments early? I know in a typical general obligation bond, you can't do that. But is there any other funding source that would be available to the city?
Well, good question, and that may be a discussion for, me to look into. I would say that, occasionally, we do financings with, community banks that have a little more flexibility on repayment. It's a little credit enhanced rating of AAA, that typically is gonna give you the best, the lowest borrowing cost, from a bonding standpoint. Community banks, though it might have a higher interest rate, might provide a little more flexibility on prepayment. One thing we could look at is for example, that 15-year term, could we move the call date a little bit closer? And I actually did this with a community down in the Twin Cities area, kind of in the western metropolitan area that's growing, they've got the next available land, if you will, the growth is coming their way. So we did a 12-year bond with a 5-year call date. So an earlier call date, just anticipating that, hey, these lots are likely to sell. Let's make sure we've got the ability to have a shorter call date. And it maybe affected the interest rate just a little bit, but not like a 0.25% or something like that. It was maybe, for example, you see 3.59% on the 15-year. Maybe it's 3.69, 0.1% higher. But sometimes that flexibility of an earlier payoff feature is well worth it. So, certainly a conversation we can continue. But those are all very nice questions, or very good questions, because if flexibility, if you really are hearing from the public that there's good demand for these lots, then I think that structure we were just referring to, maybe a 15-year term just to allow flexibility for the city, kind of additional time if you need it. But then having an earlier call date, say a 5-year call date, that would be probably a good blending or a good meeting of what your needs are. So I think that, there's always that opportunity to move the call date a little bit earlier. You might get slightly higher on the interest rate, but that's often worth it. So.
Okay.
Thank you, that was helpful.
Okay, so if we've got the low bid of $4,049,000, and then we've got the contingency of $393,400. that's SEH. I wasn't,
No, not the contingency.
That's just the SEH.
oh, I'm sorry, engineering.
What he doesn't have listed is a contingency, so
Right,
a lot of times going in construction, you'll take out some extra money for any unforeseen additional costs, and if you don't use it, you don't use it. So that was something that I typically recommend. I think on the campground, we had like 5 or 7%. Usually I recommend 5 to 10% on an underground project like this. The good news is most of the unknowns would be when the utilities are put in the ground, and you would know that early on in the project, whether there was any excessive rock or anything. We had that problem out on the campground where we found boulder after boulder, so there was some additional costs, but that's the one thing that's not listed there is if you're gonna account for contingency on the project.
And then, so we don't have that number in there, and then I in my brain wasn't thinking about the engineering, I thought that was rolled into the cost of, everything already. So, where are we at then? That, and then the bond. So we're at 1,200,400, and then if the lot sales come in there, then I think we're basically even, aren't we?
Pretty close.
We're pretty close to even. Any thoughts? Any comments?
Well, you have to consider that as you sell the lots and they're built on, you're gonna get additional tax revenue.
Yeah, I just did that number real quick, and based on like probably one of the newer homes here in town, their taxes at $5,264 a year, multiply that by the 18 lots, that's another $94,752 a year, and that's now. So that would go up. So
Was that their total county taxes or the part,
property taxes.
or the part that the city of Babbitt receives?
That was their total county taxes, so when I look it up by the taxes, it's not broken down by, county versus city, so.
I don't know that number, and I should know it, but I don't know that number. What percentage of the property taxes does the city of Babbitt receive? Do we
I
know?
don't know, I tried to look that up recently.
We looked at some examples.
We were trying.
Well, if the county is, I don't know how it's, because county, school, levies, city tax. Where's Ben Thomas? He's walking around town. The assessor. But, with the taxes though, let's shoot low, like within 3 years. That'd be positive, and that's not including what PUC would.
Yeah, the PUC would be getting water and sewer, which is not reflected in our budget.
Okay, so, we need to look at the bids. Rachel Contracting is the low bid of $4,049,000. Uland is $4,054,000. TNT Construction, $4,073,000. KGM, $4.543 million. Northland, $4.614. Utility Systems of America at $4,799,000 and change. Meyer Contracting, $5,300,000. And Wagner Construction at $5,696,000. So you're looking at a low of $4,049,068, and then a high of $5,696,838.
Yeah, I can add on to that. As you can see, the 3 low bids were all within $25,000. So sometimes I get a little bit nervous if one of the lowest number is way lower than everyone else. I did reach out to Rachel to confirm they were comfortable with their bid. They were very comfortable. We have worked with them in the past. They did the site work and piping at the wastewater plants. I've worked with them. They did the site utility work around the Ely School. And then last year I did a road job project with them and a wastewater plant project with them up in Crane Lake. I talked to the project manager. He said depending upon how fast he get materials, there's a chance they'll start this fall. It's just a matter of when they get things on site. But he said he was very comfortable with his number. He's actually said the plan is for, Rachel's a little bit of a larger firm based out of Minneapolis, but they also have a staff and location in Duluth. He said that they actually have designated construction crews that build subdivisions, and that's what they're gonna bring in for this. And he said if they can't get started this fall, they come in with probably up to 4 crews in the spring to make sure that they meet the construction deadline of next September. Because I did tell them that if you wait, the city of Babbitt is expecting you to meet your obligation in the time deadline. And he said he wasn't concerned that they could have 2 to 3 utility crews and an earth moving crew in all at the same time. But he said they would mobilize out several crews out of Minneapolis and one out of Duluth. So he did. They seemed excited for the project and felt confident that they're good with their number.
Okay. All right, and then your engineering fee, that is just a flat fee, it's not, based on any bids or anything?
No, it's based upon our cost to manage the project through construction, and then it's based upon having somebody on site while the contractor's working. That portion of the contract is hourly, so if they get done early and we spend less hours, you get billed less. It's not to exceed, but I've had construction projects that if they end up, we don't need to be on the site as much, and if the job gets done early, we come under budget.
Okay. All right, well,
I just have a question, and it's not pertaining to this discussion particularly, but maybe Jason, you can answer it, or Jim. Do you remember when we had in the process of this, we had a open, what am I looking for, where the city could come and express their views on this, right? It's a
public hearing.
public hearing.
Yep.
Yep. Do you guys have any recollection of how many people showed up at that public hearing?
I don't think any, maybe one.
I was just curious.
That was a couple of years ago. Small.
Yeah, how long has this project been underway, do you remember?
2010, or, I mean, it's
Yeah.
been in a think stage since
So when do you think that might have been?
2000, 2010.
Oh, Jim said.
The public hearing?
Oh, the public hearing. would have been-
The first, we had several of them. The first one would have been when we went through the county platting process, because I believe you have to have a hearing for that.
Sure.
And that was during COVID range.
Okay.
And then, I think we had one when we had the concept and then the plat, to make the plat official. And then, we've had, not only that, I think there was one other where we presented it. And of course, we've had regular design meetings that were posted as public or as council meetings too.
Was those posted through planning and zoning? Is that how that goes then?
Public hearings?
Yeah.
No,
Jim?
that's
There's probably, I don't know, there might have been some on both, but I
Yeah.
think they were.
Planning and zoning had to approve the subdivision design and the plat before it went to the council.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to dig through, it's
That just
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it's been a while. Okay. Well, we need to Fisher Cup 8.
Second, you'd like a motion?
Well, unless if there's any more discussion or any questions, I mean, that is why we're here.
Well, we definitely have a need for the housing, and we've been thinking about this for a long, long time, and unless we get moving on it, Babbitt is not gonna go any farther than where it is right now.
And this is gonna help increase the tax base, so it wouldn't be all on the same people every year. We're gonna be opening up to the tax base and bringing in more funding, more people, more kids, which that is what we need to grow.
When we're all said and done, I think what we need to do is come up with a number that will actually give the community per household probably, or however it best fits the need to know information on how this will, what everybody's going to be paying per year. I think they need to know that as well as the campground. Sometimes a big number is very scary. When you break it down a little farther, it doesn't, maybe it's not so bad. I don't know. You know,
Right, yeah, no,
that's something just for us to go forward with, making this acceptable.
So what is the amount now that we would have to bond? And then we know what the monthly, is it 992?
992, 469.
Plus if you're gonna take out
Well, we
any
didn't have,
contingency.
yeah, we didn't put a contingency in there. What was?
But I think what George was saying earlier is that, George, feel free to step into that, but you don't have to make the decision on the bonding amount right now. You can wait till spring because you have funds to move the project forward. George,
That's actually not true.
not sure? Okay.
No, when you get the special appropriation from the state, we
Okay.
have to have 100% of the funding determined prior to,
Perfect, good call. So you'll have to move forward with that now then, George.
Jason, I do have a question, and probably just your opinion. With what happened with all the rock out there, it would be my opinion that we would run into the same thing because most of that field is the same type of soil. But,
Yeah, we have rock in the bid, so there's line items for every removal.
oh, so we have that, that's.
We have it in there, we based upon borings, we did a bunch of borings out
Okay.
there. And again,
We don't know until we're there whether what we have in the bid is going to cover what we.
yeah, so there could be overrun and excess rock like we ended up
So
over
if there's none, then that number would go down.
Correct.
in the bid.
Correct.
How much was that number in
rock.
the bid? Yeah.
Let's see here. $40,000, $37,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jason, you said you typically suggest a 5% contingency.
5 to 10. Yeah, 5's on the low end. And just for unforeseens when you're digging up.
Yeah.
Uh,
And George, if they don't use that contingency money, can they pay that back right away without penalty?
Good question. Typically, again, we probably need to wait until the call date before you can pay the bonds back. I was just looking up, and thanks for allowing me here just a moment. But so if you do need to issue the debt up front here, to meet the state provisions there, the one nice thing is that you can we talked a little bit about the borrowing rates being, in the ballpark of a 360. That if you did need to issue the debt now, and realistically you may not need to use the money until towards the spring, so there'll be a period of time that you're sitting on it. And this is one of those times, even with the Fed rate cut that just happened, that you're at least at a break even with you've got money that you borrowed and money you can invest. And actually, depending upon what program I look at, you may be able to invest at even a slightly higher rate than what you're borrowing at. But so it's not a big negative, is what I'm trying to say. Is if you have to borrow the money now, even if you're not going to spend it for a little while. So I hope that addressed some questions there. And in terms of when you have a date that like if the state comes back and says, here's our date, we need to have funds committed by a given date. That can be kind of our target, if you will. We work backwards from there because, like I said earlier, there's trying to get the best enhancements that you can on the bonds, which are your bond rating and getting that credit enhancement program as well. And all of that comes with certain timelines. So council or Nancy, is anybody aware of that date that the state is saying you need your money in place by?
In order to receive the appropriation from the state and to basically to sign the contracts. You know, George, I'm not positive. And I don't want to say anything that's not correct. So I don't know the answer of that for sure, but I do know that we cannot receive any of the appropriated money from the state until all funding is finalized. So the project has to be funded 100%. And that would just seem to me to make good business sense that we don't sign contracts until we have that funding finalized.
Well, I can tell you from over the phone here that the word guarantee doesn't typically, it's not a word we're supposed to use in our business, but you have the statutory authority at the city to issue general obligation bonds. I've reviewed that with your bond attorney. So I feel 100% confident that you should issue these bonds. Now, if a question would come back to me and say, okay, George, that's great. When can we get the money? That all depends on when, if you'd like to say, George, we'd like to engage your services, get the ball rolling. We're basically start of October. You could get money in the month of November.
Go ahead, Jason, sorry.
Just in hearing this, it may be worthwhile just to get that clarification on what that actually means. If it's just a resolution passed that the city's gonna move forward with the bond obligation, and find out, does it just mean they're not gonna reimburse you, or what that timeline is? The only reason I say that is because if you decide we've got bids in hands, if you decide not to award it yet, and we delay it, then the contractors, and if you wait a month or something, or 6 weeks, then the contractor's gonna come back and say, well, I can't start this year, I'm gonna want an extra 2 months next year to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be my concern, is if there is a way to keep it moving forward. If you award the project today, we're gonna put contracts together, submit it to the contractor, they're gonna sign them, they're gonna get bonds and insurance, send them back, and then it's waiting for your signature. So you could always hold them at that point until you know that you're authorized to sign those contracts with Rachel in meeting the bonding money. Otherwise, I think I can foresee a bit of a delay that would affect the back end of the project.
Delayed so many times that
Yeah.
we're cutting it close.
Yeah, so I think just clarifying what they mean. Did you guys have better info on that, or?
No, I was just thinking, what, do I have better info?
No, you go ahead. What were you thinking?
I was thinking, that's exactly what I was thinking, was that now because we're already at maybe this'll end up starting, Rachel said if they couldn't get here in the fall, they could definitely get here early spring.
Yeah.
But if we postpone this to do more research, you're probably looking at a whole nother couple months, and then, but if you start the process and accept the bids, then you've accepted it, and you're working on getting the paperwork together, which is just in the meantime. So there's still time to discuss that, where we could finalize everything.
Contractually, there's a 60-day bid hold on this. So, but yeah, you could authorize awarding it, and then if for some reason you guys can't sign the contracts, you'll find that out within the next.
Yes, exactly.
I would
Days
assume
or
the next 2
whatever.
days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Is that what you were thinking, Nancy?
Yeah, and
And
I love
if it helps, group, I can have the bond attorney, Freiberger Law Firm, they can write a letter that just cites your statutory ability to issue the debt, if that's helpful for the state. just let me know if you'd like me to, make that contact.
Okay, thank you. I don't see it as a long drawn out process. I think it's just a matter of doing a little bit of research and making sure that.
Sure. Be careful, right.
Yeah,
Okay, any further discussion on this? Questions?
What are we gonna do about the contingency? We're gonna worry about that tonight, or?
And we probably should get everything else straightened out,
we would need to know that because we would have to get a bond for that.
included in there.
And I would think that we could increase the finance need to $1 million. And that would give you your 7% at least.
7% of 4 million is what? That's a couple $100,000.
No, we need more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that here somewhere. At 6%, we would need 1,235,413. That's at 6%, because you said 5 to 7, right?
Yeah.
I just did it in the middle. What
Yeah.
was any of the contingency used in the past?
Like on West Vat, or on the campground we did,
Mhm.
and that was mostly because of some changes in the design and then the rocks.
Mhm.
And I think you had 5% on that. I think it was all used.
Okay.
On the wastewater treatment plant, they did not.
Yeah.
Use all their contingencies, so
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys came in under budget, right?
700,000 under.
Yeah, so it's variable. The nice thing is usually if there's extra costs, it's when the undergrounds work is happening, and that happens in the front end of the job. So,
Mhm.
we would know earlier on, but,
That's pretty much where the potato field was, right?
yeah, I've heard varying reports that this side is less bouldery than, east of town. Find out.
See if it's true.
I have 40 out there and I cleared a building site, about a half acre. And I don't know, I thought maybe that's where they piled all the rock when they made the potato field. Half of it, there wasn't a single rock in that half acre clearing.
Yeah.
And then I started pulling stumps and stuff out and started scratching a few rocks and some of them were the size of cars.
Yeah, glaciers just move things.
It was just like,
floating
you
rocks
saw the
everywhere.
line right there where they started, but, yeah.
So when I run the number, if you would do a 5% contingency, it would increase it by $49,623.45 for a total bond of $1,042,092.45.
That doesn't sound right.
Why not?
5% of 4 million is 200,000.
Oh, I apologize. I was looking at 5% of the extra. You're right.
Yeah.
I did the wrong number.
Yeah. And you could just round it. I mean, it's a rule of thumb.
So it's an extra 202,000.
So if you just go 1.2 million instead of 992, it's round number.
Well, Jason, when you ran the project out to the junction, did you guys run into a lot of rocks out there? Do you recall?
That was before I moved back to town, so I don't recall. Yeah,
How about the hideaway?
when was the highway done?
That was just boring underneath the
Yeah,
road there.
that was done separately from us.
It
Yeah, they directionally
What
drove.
was your
so-
question, Jim?
Well, they did the junction project. I'm just wondering what kind of digging they.
It didn't sound like they
I
had
don't
much, but
see
it was only
rocks
like
out there.
600
No.
feet or
I
something.
think when you look at the little low spot in the field there, there's not a boulder anywhere in that,
Yeah.
it's kind of a gravel pit, the whole field, I think, and that's what we're praying for.
Yeah, I mean, if you go with 5% and then things creep up on us, we can always address it at that time. I mean, right now, we know that you want to plan for something, it's just how much up front. You can always reevaluate it later.
You don't lose it if you don't use it.
But you can't pay it back early, so you are paying interest on it.
Oh,
Yes.
Up until 7 or 8 years.
Yeah. So even if, what's the benefit if you find out early in the project, it doesn't matter because you can't pay it back early?
Correct. Well, I think part of it is you guys also are gonna have potentially proceeds coming in from lot sales. And you could, if you needed more contingency, you could be using those proceeds, right?
Right. Or I guess the benefit of knowing early on was if you need more, you have time to explore for more money.
Yeah, the other thing is, in addition to, rocks are an unknown, the one challenging thing, and I think I've talked to a few people on this, is once the municipal part is built, then Minnesota Power is gonna come in, and you guys have requested underground power on this one. Minnesota Power was very reluctant to give us a firm number of what it would cost and how fast they would be. So we have an allowance in the contractor's bid that they had to put in. There's a $250,000 line item in there for power supply for Minnesota Power to run power on all the lots. That could end up being less. It could end up being more. That's one that we really don't have basically Minnesota Power will send the invoices, then it'll get paid for out of the grant or out of your project funding. That's the other one that's kind of a unique aspect on this. We don't see that obviously on regular utility jobs. It's just regular utilities, but we're a little bit at the mercy of private utility.
What, off the top of your head, Jason, any idea what the difference would have been if it wouldn't been underground?
I do not recall. Yeah.
Probably have, yeah.
No, it's gonna be underground power service with, is what the city requested with, the standard lights, street lights that you see all over the wooden pole lights with the Minnesota Power provided fixture.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. So we need to accept a bid. It's the next one, right? So we need a motion to accept a bid out of the 8 that we received.
I'll move we accept the bid from Rachel Contracting for $4,049,060.60.
I'll second it.
There's a motion by Lassie with a second by Fitzpatrick. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain, I think I have to abstain. I'm not sure if I have to abstain. I've been contacted by a contractor, and I don't know if that means I have to abstain on this vote or not.
Not the winning contractor though.
No, it's not the winning contract.
I don't think you have to.
Okay.
I don't,
Because you're not getting any benefit from it. It's only if you're getting like a monetary.
I'm
If you're getting a
going to
payment.
abstain,
Anyway, okay.
yes. Because if the information were leaked to this other contractor, they may contact, I mean, I would rather not vote on it.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Abstain?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, motion passes. So we will be awarding the contract to Rachel Contracting. 3 in favor, 1 abstain. And the project funding, we need to determine how much we'd like to bond for. And that includes the contingency. So put a contingency, determine a contingency percentage. And the option is either anywhere from 5 to 7%. You don't get to do more, do you? I mean,
Huh?
I mean, I know you can do more, but
You can, yeah, it's really up to you guys. It's how much extra you wanna have on hand.
not as little as possible.
Yeah,
Well, probably 5% would be acceptable.
Kind of what I was thinking, yeah. Okay, so do we have a motion to put in the 5% contingency?
I'll make that motion to put 5% into contingency.
Okay, motion by Fitzpatrick, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Lassie, any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained? Okay, motion carries. 4-0, or fully or unanimously. Okay, then so now, project funding. We need to determine how much we would, well, we know what we need to bond for, so I guess the next motion would be then to bond for that amount. Which would be,
Would we have to look at, option of 15 years or 20 years? Is that,
do we have to determine that now?
I don't know.
I know, it's a good question. Anyone know?
George?
Is George still on the line?
Think so?
I am, yes. Thank you for the question, Dee. What I would say, council, if you're willing to consider the following, you've accepted the low bid, determined a contingency amount. At this stage, what I would say is, and again, here's what I would do because it gets the ball rolling. And if truly the state says, yes, you need to have your money in place as soon as possible, what I would say, City Council, and I've worked with you before, is engage Northland Securities to work with you on the financing with the financing structure yet to be determined. And I mean, just for perspective, council, what we can do is that gets the ball rolling. What we do is we then start working with city staff on assembling what's called the bond official statement, which is basically the story of Babbitt on paper. It's the marketing piece that investors look at. So we get your audits, we get that bond official statement started, and we just get the ball rolling on getting, the bond rating, et cetera. We can continue down the path. It sounds to me from the discussion tonight that the preferred financing structure is, what I believe I heard was 15 years with the ability to maybe have a little earlier call date to give you flexibility to pay off bonds if your lot sales are occurring like you hope. So, and that doesn't need to be firmed up tonight. I would say it'd be better to provide direction. Northland, start working with staff on getting the bond put together, and then we can certainly keep discussing, here's the ideal scenario. Now that we know we're gonna add 200,000 of contingency in, we can show you updated numbers too. So that might help drive the decision. But for purposes, council, of next steps, that's what I would recommend.
That sounds reasonable to me.
Now, and are we able to shop, no offense, George, are we able to shop this around, or are we committed to Northland? Like, you mentioned Minnesota, the other one?
The Minnesota, I think he's done a great job for the city of Babbitt in the past.
Right.
But I think it's prudent.
With the interest rates and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Unless, I mean, you're firm on those interest rates, right, George?
The rates that you receive on the sheet from me today is reflective of the current market. So the current market next week might be, I don't anticipate we'd be seeing higher interest rates than what we're seeing here. We have been seeing a trend of lower rates going forward. So my hope is that going forward, we see lower rates than what you have on the sheet. The Public Facilities Authority through the state of Minnesota, yes, provides financing for projects. I'm not the expert on their program. I just know that it seems that more often than not, they're financing treatment plants and water treatment plants, things that have a more things that need to be replaced, things that have maybe a health and safety provision to them, that you're fixing something like that. New development projects, my experience in the past, haven't ranked as high. That's just my 2 cents. Again, I might be off base there, but I will admit the Public Facilities Authority, if eligible for them, their interest rate will be lower than our interest rate. I would fully support if you can get their financing, because, my interest rates start at 3 something. Theirs are probably in the high 1s or in the 2% range.
Mhm.
But again, it's are you a project that ranks high for their scoring? And I would probably defer to the engineers in terms of, in their experience, what they see as ranking or being a more fundable project through the PFA.
Yeah, if it's the PFA loan program that I'm aware of, you have to submit a year in advance and be on the project priority list in their fundable range. So, maybe there's a program I'm not aware of, but, that's typically how it's done. So I don't know if that's something that's, available at this time for you guys, but you can certainly call them and ask.
I did reach out to the PFA today, asking them about funding options and bonding. He did confirm some of the information that George said, in that they typically are working on projects that are focused on water projects. However, and in my discussion back and forth with him, I explained that this project was more than just the water, it was a residential development. He had also asked me if we had submitted an intended use permit.
Yeah, no, you
And
don't
I
have an
said
intended use plan, you're not on the project priority list.
And so I do not know how that answer that I gave him, and I told him I had no knowledge of an IUP. And so we were just having a conversation back and forth about it. So I don't have a firm answer yet whether or not that would be an option for us.
Yeah, typically it's just
But then-
water and sewer costs that are eligible, and you have to you go through the application and ranking process in advance, and you guys have not done that.
Okay.
I have a question. Can we keep the ball rolling without committing to Northland Securities today? Is that a possibility, or do we need to move forward with the bond amount today and Northland?
You've awarded the bid. The one other thing I need is for you guys to approve my contract, and we can start working with the contractor, getting things moved forward. But yeah, as far as the Northland Securities thing,
Gotcha.
I think you want to keep that moving forward, because it's going to be a requirement of the bonding bill
But
funding.
if we wait a week, will that be detrimental?
I don't think so.
I would say that would be okay.
I don't think so, and I think that would give us time
Yeah.
to make sure that,
Right.
and again, it's making sure that we are getting the best bonding at the least cost that is,
Right. Yeah,
for the
for the
residents, the residents are paying for it.
All right.
And I think exploring those options, like George suggested for the early call. To me, with something like this, especially, then we'll know how lot sales are in the next 12 to 18 months.
Right. Did we accept the covenants for Mulberry already? I can't remember. I know we discussed them. Or maybe I was at planning and zoning. I can't remember.
Well, we had them on the agenda at the last council meeting.
Right.
There were a few typos and things we had.
Right, so I don't think we fully
correct.
adopted those.
Yeah, that went back to planning and zoning.
Okay.
And we don't meet until Thursday.
Okay, and then, yeah, because we wanted to open it up to, residents in town first, right? For the first 3
Yeah,
months?
that doesn't need to be on the covenant side.
No, but I just wanted to, like, when does that 3 months start? Like, does it start January? Does it start just for pre-sales to reserve.
Could start at the next council meeting after we've got this stuff in place.
Got it. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
However, to be clear, real quick, Jason, you have the bid accepted, but if you don't have your contract finalized, the ball stops until your contract is signed as well. The contract with SEH
Yeah,
and the
I-
bid award resolution.
yeah, well, I'll need my contract approved to keep the ball moving with the contractor to get
Correct.
that moving, so that's
So if
that's a
they-
separate action. item.
So if they approve the bids tonight, but don't approve the SEH contract tonight, we're at standstill.
I finished my services,
Right.
everything, so.
Yeah, we'd have to accept the bid, his contract. We can wait a week for the bonding portion of it.
Okay, the contract is.
Okay, so I apologize, I did not include the contract in tonight, so
Okay.
is that still?
Can you add it as an addition tonight still,
Is it on
or
the
is
agenda?
it, it is not on the agenda? For purposes of,
I apologize, my,
Well, yeah, but it's part of the whole thing,
It
the
is.
project.
it is definitely,
I think it would be.
I mean, it was on our project funding worksheet to
Mhm.
talk about, and so the resolution that you have a draft of
Mhm.
does not include that, but we could add that very easily. So the resolution then would be that we're authorized and directed to award the bid and enter into the contract with Rachel Contracting.
Mhm.
And that,
And SEH.
and SEH.
Mhm.
And I don't, unless you feel it's appropriate, add additional language about authorizing the clerk to, what would it be, investigate bonding options.
I don't think
I don't think
the
it's
resolution.
I don't think it needs to be part of the resolution.
Mhm.
Can we just make a motion to amend the resolution?
do you need, I don't know that the resolution needs to say anything about SEH.
You don't think so?
I think that the resolution is specifically for the, accepting the bids and awarding the contract to Rachel. I think that the SEH contract is completely separate, and I don't think you need a resolution to accept a contract with SEH. We never found any contractual, we do
Yeah,
not.
it's never happened.
It's a professional
It's
service
just a
agreement
council vote
that
approving
we,
the contract.
correct, so if we can add it to this agenda based on what the meeting was posted for and this agenda, which I'm not seasoned in those statutes, so I'm not making the call, but the contract with Jason is a contract with SEH. You guys have seen these professional service agreements many times. And we have it. It's just, it's the one for the 393, 400.
493.4.
But without that being added tonight, then there's nothing moving forward until the next meeting.
I think we should put the SEH contract on the next council meeting. It's not a rush or anything, it's gonna be acted on.
A week away.
I would think we can wait for it.
What do you think, Jason?
Are you okay with a week?
Yeah, as long as, I'll probably start coordinating with Rachel, but as long as you guys don't have any issues, I'll.
You're gonna get the contract, it's just,
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just want to make sure everyone had all their bases covered.
Didn't you say before that a week could set us back 6 weeks?
No, if this takes several weeks to figure out your financing, that was what the question was. If you don't award the contractor bid, we need to get that moving forward if you want them to start potentially this year.
okay.
Would you be doing a notice of intent to award?
You guys just awarded it, so we'll be
We did.
sending the contractor
But
notice.
you would do that
Yes,
notice
we
then
handle
to
all that
Rachel?
for you. Yep.
Okay,
And we'll coordinate with you as necessary for signatures and approvals.
All right, so we will, to recap, we'll put SEH contract on the next council agenda, and then we will go forward with awarding the bid and the resolution. And we will be doing a 5%, oh wait, that's bonding, so, okay. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept resolution number 2025-19. accepting the bid and awarding the contract for the West Babbitt development.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second? Okay. Do we have a second? Second by Lossing. Any discussion? No, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Contract is awarded to Rachel Contracting. Okay, project planning, public input. Yes, sir.
What was SEH's cost to get the project to this point?
I have to go back and look. So you've got design and then you've got plating costs, but I don't have it in front of me.
That's not part of this funding at this point.
No, I think the city's already paid for that upfront.
Did the city have funding for that, or how was it paid for?
I don't know what they took their money on.
My knowledge of that, which is not everything, is that no, there was no other funding that was paid for that. I think that was just paid. I think everything that I have seen has not been any other bonds or grants for this that have been opened or touched at this point. I think the only grants we had were those.
Was it listed there?
So general fund then.
Yeah.
And then the other thought, sitting here listening to all this tonight, is you have these numbers listed for what you think the lots will sell for. Well, couldn't those numbers be higher? I mean, they could always be lower, of course, but if you need more money to make the project cash flow better, can't you just sell the lots for more?
Yeah, we absolutely could. I don't think we've determined a price on it. It was just based on what the current sales, lot sales with utilities have come in at. So, yeah, if the market changes or if the council wants to have an appraiser come, and, that's totally acceptable too.
Yeah, I mean, just to me, if
Do
you're
you
looking
think-
for more income, there's one way to make more money, you can
Right.
sell for more.
Yep.
There's not a ton of them out there right now.
Yeah, they're larger than the current